size because we have natural yield products where the lender, could be yourself, earning yield on your crypto, and the borrower, which is a trading firm borrowing crypto to trade, meet together in a marketplace. And so we're very uniquely positioned that lenders can earn more because there's no middleman on the interest rate side. It's an order book, which is open to anyone 24/7. And of course, borrowers get access to cheaper funds because, again, they're not being marked up by the middleman. So essentially, we feel that we're a marketplace for buyers and sellers of US dollars.
This is the How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast, brought to you by 10MinuteStockTrader.com, where we cover finance, stocks, options, entrepreneurship, education, and money. And here's your host, voted one of the top 100 people in finance, Christopher Ewell. Hey there, traders. Welcome back to today's How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast. I have 3 special free gifts for you over at 10MinuteStockTrader.com. That's the Triple Stock Profits ebook you can get for free. That's a Bullish Power cheat sheet that you can get for free. And if that wasn't enough, at the brand new web class, How to Easily Discover Proven, Backtested, 100% plus winners, that is for free as well. You can get these 3 free gifts, all yours, at 10MinuteStockTrader.com. The Triple Stock Profits ebook, the free web class, and the Bullish Power cheat sheet. And all you got to do is go to 10MinuteStockTrader.com. Markets are people. People are predictable. Outlier can show you how to track market fear and greed with artificial intelligence on over 1,300 of the largest market cap names. Visit outlier.com to learn more. That's OVTLYR.com. They have a free pilot program for the rest of 2021 you can get access to right now at OVTLYR.com. That's OVTLYR.com. Hey, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified every time we give you more tools, tips, and tricks to help you trade faster and trade smarter every single week. Hey there, traders. Welcome back to today's How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast. Today, we have a special guest line, Sudhu Arumugam. Now, Sudhu is the chief or co-founder at CoinFlex. And, I'm really interested. I've got just a teensy bit in the crypto world, but I know that this is like the way of the future to most people. So Sudhu, thank you so much for coming on. I'm really interested to talk to you about this.
Well, thank you for having me, Christopher.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sudhu's coming to us from Hong Kong very graciously at 12:04 in the morning there, and I really appreciate your time on that. So Sudhu, give me some of your backstory. Like, as a co-founder of CoinFlex, what was the initial kickoff point where you're like, I got to do something about this. I need to be part of this space.
Yeah, it was actually my background is from derivatives trading. So I have sort of 20 years of a background in futures and options across kind of equities and fixed income. And it was sort of only towards early 2017, that I started reading about crypto because it was becoming very, very popular. There was a lot of things in the news, and I knew absolutely nothing about this emerging asset class. And because I came from this trading background from Merrill Lynch and DRW and a bunch of sort of hedge funds, I could have found it interesting that none of these kind of participants were in this market, and I was trying to find out more about it. And I kind of went to meetups in London, and there was people kind of selling their tokens and projects, and I was like, well, how do I buy that? Could I send you some pounds, and could you give me some of your tokens? And they were like, no, you need to send me crypto to get crypto. And I was like, well, how do I get hold of crypto? This is the first I'm hearing of this. And so generally, the more meetups I went to, they pointed me towards CoinFloor, which was the UK's biggest exchange for Bitcoin to GBP, and they accepted bank deposits. And so I was like, got to know CoinFloor. And during that was when I met my co-founder, Mark Lamb, because he was the founder of CoinFloor. And we got together, and, it was just so coincidentally, just so happened that, he was starting to discover the power of derivatives trading in crypto, and how it is sort of compared to spot volumes, it was such a small fraction of the market, how it had so much further to grow, and obviously knew everything about crypto and next to nothing about derivatives. And I was literally the mirror of him, where I knew zero about crypto and a lot about derivatives. And so we kind of made a good match, and that's how it kind of landed in the crypto space by accident.
That makes sense. Yeah. So you got to crypto initially through trading. What got you started on trading? What took you down that road?
So trading was something that growing up I went to university in London and studied economics there. And obviously, City University is at the heart of the city of London, surrounded by the banks. They're all sort of, half a mile apart in the famous square mile. And you kind of hear the stories about it. And I did an internship during the middle of my degree with NatWest Bank at the time in their kind of markets section and banking section. And so I got this interest in trading. And at university, I applied to a bunch of trading firms and got a job offer with actually an American firm out of Radnor, Pennsylvania called Cooper Neff, which was one of the big options trading houses, both in the US and in London, and became a trainee trader and worked my way up the ranks there.
Very cool. So when you started trading, right, you got that bug in college, and I was the same way, right? I did the derivatives, the portfolio management program in college, where it's a portion of the college endowment, and they're like, we're going to set 25 20-year-olds out on this money and see what happens, right? And of course, this was in 2007 2008, so no matter what we bought, we weren't going to win. So when you started on your trading journey, like what were you trying to do, right? Because everyone comes into trading with at least in my experience, with the idea that it's all about the money, but at some point it changes, right? Did you have a similar experience?
It was all about the money. Totally right, because you sort of go down onto the trading floor, which I started on the LIFE, which is the London International Financial Futures Exchange. So like CME, the equivalent in London was called LIFE, and I was down there on the first day, and you see like thousands of people in colored jackets waving their arms and trading and making vast amounts of money and losing vast amounts of money. And all of a sudden you get, kind of fixated by money, not necessarily that from I want to be the richest man in the world, but essentially your day was measured in money, because you would go back off end of the day upstairs and your boss would be like, hey, did you make money or did you lose money? And an hour later, the trainee traders or clerks would tell you what your P&L was for the day. And so, and at the end of the week, there was your weekly P&L, and there was the monthly P&L, and then the quarterly P&L and the annual P&L. So it was the mark, right? So everything that you would judge by, and so you sort of start. Essentially, it's very important at that point to sort of dissociate yourself from the P&L concept of money, because you might have had a $100,000 day. Well, it doesn't mean that you go out and spend 50K on a night out in London, because it's almost like you do your regular thing of going to your favorite restaurant or a bar or getting a takeaway, but meanwhile in the background you're having these huge 6-figure days, sometimes 7-figure days. And that was kind of the first hardest part, I think, as a young trader, is to like not let it go to your head, good or bad, because obviously you could be destroyed, kind of emotionally in character and confidence by a really bad day as well. And so you have to sort of have this emotional detachment from the money, from the P&L perspective, but obviously be cognizant of the fact that, you get paid a bonus based on it. And if you keep losing money, you get fired. So you could also be blasé about it, say, hey, I'll just trade. I won't care about risk. I'll do whatever hell I want because it's not my money, kind of either, because that gives you a bad reputation. So it was a very, very complex psychological kind of game for a 21-year-old to comprehend. And obviously, I'm not alone. Everyone's been through this. So,
I had a friend of mine. He wrote a book, and the first question he asked me to read it. And it was like a trading psychology book. And the first question was, why do you trade? And at the time, I'd never thought about why I traded. Like, I knew I enjoyed it. So initially, I'm like, well, for the money, of course. And then I just sat back for a minute and I'm like, I lost years of my life chasing after nothing, with nothing but negative P&L to show. And it wasn't about the money to me. It was the game. It was like Mario, right? And it was, I described it to somebody the other day. I was like, it's kind of like that feeling back in, let's say it's 1988. It's Christmas time, and you've got this Christmas box under the tree, and you pull it out, and you open it up, and it's that brand new Nintendo Entertainment System. You've never had the opportunity to try anything like this before. And so you're excited, just like trading. You're excited. You want to get into it. You want to learn. You pop in that Mario cartridge and you start playing, and first those little turtles, they take you out, right? And then you try a little bit longer and those turtles take you out again. And you keep failing and you fail, but you fail a little bit better each time, right? You get a little bit further down the level. And then eventually you reach the flagpole, you slide down the flagpole, and you've won that level. And that, in my opinion, is exactly like trading. Because if you treat it like a game, use every loss or circumstance as a learning opportunity, you will continue to move forward until one day you're the one sliding down the flagpole. Kind of like what you were just saying there.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because look, there's a great way of now, we're just talking about me as a 21-year-old. Now, if you look at some of the kind of multi-billionaires who, in trading, now they're still in the game, right? And so it's clearly not about the money. Look at, Don Wilson at DRW, Bill DeSoma at Jump. You look at Vinny Viola at Virtue, for example. And these are all guys that were senior traders when I was a junior trader in the same pit. So we used to stand actually, certainly for Don and, Vinny was upstairs, but his firm had many traders downstairs. But essentially, these guys are billionaires multiple times over, $5-10 billion, of net worth each. But yet they turn up at 7 a.m. like they did as a 21-year-old and work till 7 p.m. and go home. So it's clearly not about the money, because they could have retired 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right? So it is a game. Money is a way of measuring your progression in the game. And it's a fascinating profession to be in, because just like I found, during my career as a trader, no single day is the same. You don't go and file pieces of paper. You don't go and say, hey, I need to pull out a report. You have no idea what's going to happen when you click your screens on and read the news and get ready to trade. And every single day is totally different. Now, from the trading side, at least from the traditional, or we call TradFi side, at least you had the weekends to yourself, right? Now in crypto, of course, it's way worse because it's 24/7. So you don't even get that, Friday night, I've got a really bad position, but hey, nothing I can do about it because the market's closed. I'll stress about it on Monday. Was kind of a way of switching off. In crypto, you've been marked to market by the second with no respite, so it's way more brutal.
Yeah. When what you were saying that you went from trading to crypto and then to CoinFlex, did you go straight to the idea of I want to create a platform, or were you like, I'm going to trade it for a while? Like what was the gap between those 2 points?
Yeah, it's a great question, because obviously I've only ever been a trader and CoinFlex
Right.
is an exchange. And so I approached it from a trading perspective. But once I kind of got to speak to Mark, we kind of figured out that, it was great being an exchange, because, we grew up trading on CME and Eurex and Life. And you're like, wow, this huge, marketplaces where buyers and sellers meet and they kind of make fees. And, and you always know that there's no such thing as a bad day, because you always earn fees. You might earn a little bit, medium, a lot, but, at least you didn't have the kind of stresses of positions. And so, for me, it was sort of a way to try, the other side of the fence, essentially, for the first time in my career after 20 years of being on the pricing side, was to go become the exchange side. And crypto, because it was so new, it actually allowed me to kind of take my knowledge and add value to building products. And that's what we've done at CoinFlex. We've built yield-bearing stable coins like Flex USD, automated market making. These are all products that in trading activities that I've traded my whole career. Basis trading, which we created Flex USD, market making, which is now automated market making, is a big deal in DeFi. We were the first exchange to bring it to futures trading, and so we're bringing. What fascinated me about crypto is that it's literally the democratization of finance, because it's the first time in history that you as Christopher can trade against DRW, against B2C2, against an old lady out of Japan or wherever it might be, all in the same order book. And it's, there is no barriers to entry. If you want to trade on carbon using IG on CME, it's going to take you days, weeks to even get your certification to be allowed to do it, and even then, you might have to put a minimum amount of $10,000 to trade. Whereas on crypto, you can put, deposit a fraction of a Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or Ethereum, and with $50 or $100, you can experiment, learn, and grow, which is obviously in this modern day, outside of Robinhood type apps. But if you really want to be a professional trader, it's a very, very expensive process and very prohibitive, right, in equities and in traditional stock trading.
Yeah. So while you were setting up the exchange, one would assume that everything was flawless and perfect and there was no stress, but there probably was a lot of stress, a lot of headaches, and a lot of things that you had to overcome in order to make this happen. What were some of the difficulties that you ran across?
The difficulties really is because I wasn't a techie, or I'm not familiar with code. So, we spend a lot of time designing products, and then, you kind of have to translate financial market knowledge to a developer who knows nothing about finance, and I know nothing about code. And so for Mark and I, really, it was, kind of, crossing that bridge with each other and with the devs. Now, I had a way harder issue on top of that, which Mark doesn't, which was around blockchain. I was very, very new about blockchain technology and how that works as well. So I had that extra loop of learning, which is obviously fascinating, but extremely stressful, as you said. And, one of the revolutions essentially of this kind of new paradigm with it, we're going into Web3 now as well. And, there's a lot of jargon and very little about it, but what's great about it, about everything we've done in crypto and new technologies, because of the rise of cloud-based technology, you can launch businesses relatively cheaply right now. If you look back, even 10 years ago and you wanted to be an exchange, well, you needed a massive data room in Aurora in Chicago or in LD4 in London, and you need to spend millions of dollars on servers and security and all kinds of stuff. Now you take it to CoinFlex and any crypto exchange, and we launch on AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, and your monthly bills are $100,000, and that's the capex that you put down. So it's very, very pro innovation. So you're encouraged to try things. You can spin up a little server on the side and experiment with your developer, break it, rebuild it. And so that was the kind of real kind of eureka moment for me, was the fact that build and break and try again, build and break and try again was an amazing motto, and it really encouraged you to not worry about failing and then getting back on the horse and rebuilding again.
Build and break and try again. It's almost as if you spent time as a trader building a system, breaking the system, and trying it again, right? You see, One of the things I like to do in my interviews is I like to connect the dots, right? So I think earlier on, maybe all that trading and everything you did in the derivative space really helped you overcome some of those obstacles to get CoinFlex off the ground, right?
No, I think you're right. Even just from a emotional and face perspective, when you speak to sort of investors and customers, you even take the biggest exchanges in the world, like Binance, for example. They're no different to us, even though they're number one, and we're in the sort of second, we're in the top 10 probably at the bottom range of it, and there's something breaking every single hour, and yet it's like the swan. You see the head of the swan, everything's fine, but you're not seeing under the water with the rapid feet movements and the panic that's going on. And it could be very simple as the customer support chat's broken down and there's a bunch of irate customers and someone needs to fix the bug and get it back up in line. Or, there's a outage on Cloudflare and about, half your customers can't access the platform. And, it's just constantly going on. And the trading background about like soaking this up, smiling, when like, when you were kind of on the trading floor or in a trading room, you never let the person next to you know that you're having a bad day. It'd always be, hey, how's it going, whatever. And you could be like sweating, you're just praying for non-farm payrolls to go your way, but you never show it emotionally, and it's a little bit like that. So, right in the middle of a really stressful moment, you have customers like, buzzing you and saying, hey, how's it going? You're like, fantastic, even though you're kind of sweating away and your shirt stuck to your back, So
that's super, super interesting. I couldn't imagine the idea of going and creating an exchange, but it takes the innovation gene, I guess you could say, to make that happen. So now earlier this year, or at least in 2021, from what I've seen, I feel like this has been one of the craziest years ever for trading. Because earlier on this year we had the GameStop and the AMC and then the Dogecoin, and then recently we had the NFT space and the Shiba Inus and all the other garbage coins that are going on out there.
Yeah.
How do you guys deal with that and handle it and work with that kind of boom and bust cycle that seems to be happening right now? How does that work in y'all's system? Does that break anything? Does that bring new participants, or you tell me?
It's actually, yeah, it is not easy because if we're a spot exchange, you could just list whatever you wanted, and there was no real, outside of brand damage because someone there was a very scammy coin that you listed and people kind of lost tons of money on.
Like a Squid Game token,
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
Yeah.
where it just sort of disappeared overnight. So that you have that kind of brand reputation you have to be careful about with spot. Now with CoinFlex, because we're a derivatives exchange, you've got not just the brand risk, but you've also got the fact that customers will have leveraged positions and you need to be able to liquidate them in a timely manner, or otherwise the exchange takes the loss. So really when a community comes with us and say, oh well, please list Shiba, which they did, and we listed it 3 months ago, we also have to like look around liquidity providers. Who are the market makers? Who can we trust to provide backstop emergency liquidity? How much leverage do we allow users to what's the max position size? So there's so many complex calculations that go into listing a coin. Whereas from a customer's perspective, they're like, well, I listed today listed.
Just buy and sell. Like, what's the hard part
correct.
here? Yeah.
What's the hard part here? Just stick it on the exchange. But so much thought and risk discussions go into every single one of these coins that we launch.
So that reminds me, when all of the GameStop AMC stuff was going on, or January and February, when Robinhood shut down the buy function, right? The only thing you were able to do was sell. I had heard later on, it was explained to me by a hedge fund. They were like, yeah, they had to, because they couldn't keep track of the liquidity of all the shares that were being bought. And I had no idea, right? Because I was on the other side of it. I was playing AMC too, just for fun. And I was like, this is some shit, right? How can they shut us down like this? And, there were so many people who lost so much money because they had no idea how to control their risk. And then when you take away half of the buy and sell equation by the broker, that's scary. So have you guys ever run into an issue like that yet? And if so, how did you work around it?
No, we haven't, because the minute you do something like that and make it very restrictive, your customers will walk away. I'll never come back again, right? So it's sometimes we have slowdowns because there's just a huge volume of trading and so latency issues. But we what we do normally, if there's a lot of volatility, like the example of GameStop, what we do is kind of increase the margin requirements on the platform. So we never halt trading. But what we do is that we will suddenly, double, triple margin. So all of a sudden, there's like way, leverage comes down in the system. We will, kind of widen price bands to make sure there's no sort of fat finger trades. There's a bunch of countermeasures that we put in place, but we would absolutely not stop one side of the trade. And obviously, with this GameStop example, there was also this conspiracy theories that some of the large market makers are deliberately, kind of forced this on Robinhood, for the payment for order flow side, because they were just being cleaned out from the buy side. They could just like getting lifted on the offers constantly, and they could not buy it back, right? So, that's I wouldn't completely discount something like that. It's as well as saying, there was obviously this whole custodial thing of, who's got the certificate. We needed to match it off before we could sell it, from a settlement perspective. But yeah, I mean, the thing about crypto is, anyone can send a coin. You had coins in one exchange, you send it across to CoinFlex, and it's done in seconds, right, or minutes, depending on the blockchain that you use. So, for us, on any exchange, we would absolutely not block it, because it'd be very obvious that it was you doing it for some deliberate or nefarious reason, rather than a blockchain-based reason, because everyone can track these transactions on the blockchain.
Yeah. So, did you guys run into anything like the Squid Game, where it was a scam the whole time, and then all of a sudden the rug got pulled? Has that come across y'all's desk at all, or have you been able to avoid those?
We've been, touch wood, we've been able to avoid those so far. We only touch sort of coins that are reasonably well known and on multiple exchanges as a starting point. So we're somewhat immune, I guess, from that. A lot of the sort of rug pulls, as they call it, crypto term of scamming, it happens on DeFi platforms, because obviously it's permissionless. So anyone can lynch. You can list a Christopher coin in seconds and put it on Uniswap. Right? Yeah. So my point is that, so it's permissionless, and that's the upside of it, and that's the downside of it. And you can't have one without the other.
That's very good. Okay, because I've just a smidge over at Coinbase, and while the Squid Game stuff was going on, I was trying to pull it up over there, and it was not available, and I didn't understand. I was like, huh, okay. I mean, I don't know the space to see. I didn't even realize that there was like a DeFi space. That's there's crypto and then there's DeFi. That's even
Yeah.
further far from
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. So we like Coinbase, like and ourselves, we're centralized. So you have humans that you interact with, like myself, and so we are kind of a natural audit block vetter, for it. Now, obviously, there's no guarantees because there's thousands of coins, right? So
Yeah.
and long term, some of them may just naturally die anyway, rather than them being scams or rug pulls. But on DeFi, of course, you can't police it. I mean, that's the whole nature of it, right? So now the SEC wants to, I guess, but we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah. So what's y'all's goal over there? You can tell I'm from Texas. What's y'all's goal? What's y'all's goal over there with CoinFlex? What are we trying to get to? What is our ultimate goal here?
Our ultimate goal basically is to be the biggest money platform in crypto. The home of crypto yields is our tagline. So trade crypto, earn crypto. We sit in a very interesting intersection because on the one side you've got the pure exchanges like Binance and FTX. On the other side of crypto, you've got this what you call borrow lender. So you could like banks essentially for crypto, where you can deposit your Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum and earn returns like a savings account. They then lend it out to trading firms and other counterparties and kind of make a net interest margin. We actually sit in a very interesting spot right in the middle of the intersection of both these sides, because we have natural yield products where the lender, which could be yourself, earning yield on your crypto, and the borrower, which is a trading firm borrowing crypto to trade, meet together in a marketplace. And so we're very uniquely positioned that lenders can earn more because there's no middleman on the interest rate side. It's an order book, which is open to anyone 24/7. And of course, borrowers get access to cheaper funds because, again, they're not being marked up by the middleman. So essentially, we feel there's we're a marketplace for buyers and sellers of US dollars in essence, and other crypto. And so we want to be the biggest money platform in crypto.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you guys handle any of the NFT space? I mean, I don't really understand the way that all works on the blockchain. Does that go through CoinFlex at all?
No, it doesn't. I mean, we could
Okay.
do. We just started to play with the kind of NFTs because we have this arena competition where you kind of, as a trader now, you asked me earlier about UK being on video now. Obviously, in crypto, there's a lot of kind of people who don't want to be known, right? So we have these avatars that you can create to be a trader. So and then in the winners of these competitions get these NFTs, which is which they get to keep, and it has a record of their how well they've traded, their P&L, and all this sort of stuff, which even though you don't know it's who the person is, you have this kind of cartoony characters which become mintable as NFTs, and then you can use the Ethereum network and or Bitcoin Cash, which is smart BCH, is SEP20, to send NFTs to each other and buy and sell it on OpenSea, which is one of the biggest platforms for it right now. But it's a space that I'm not hugely familiar with either. It's obviously very topical. It feels very bubbly in some of these prices for bored apes and stuff, but hey, who knows?
My whole concern with the NFT space is the lack of fungibility, right? Because some people would say, oh, that makes it rare and unique and special and important. And my differing view on that is that's what makes it risky. Because if you don't have the ability to get in and out of the trade, if you don't have the liquidity that comes with a fungible asset, that could be a recipe for disaster. Because I mean, if you bought a bored monkey or a bored ape and nobody else wants to buy it from you, I mean, that's the greater fool theory in finance, is that you're the last person. In theory, there's always a greater fool that'll buy it off of you, but at some point you're the last one standing, and that's the part that concerns me on the NFT space.
So, no, I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, as we're coming to the end here, you've come a long way from, City College in London to Hong Kong running the CoinFlex exchange over there. What's some of the biggest lessons along the way that you're like, man, I am so glad I had the opportunity to learn that. Even if it did cost me some money, it has transformed me in this way.
I think one of the biggest lessons is really around not being afraid to fail, which it's like you correctly pointed out, it's really from the trading days you start learning to up days, down days, up days, and I think the key thing was I used to like I had a terrible week and be just like be like a just a horrible person at the weekend because I didn't want to see my friends or speak to somebody, and you just kind of carry that And I think it's the key lesson I've learned through life is just to take each day, be grateful for each day and to take each day, as it is, because every single day has got a good part and a bad part now. There's no way that you should kind of, spend the whole day as I did as a 21-year-old saying, good day, bad day, good day, bad day, marking it down in that sense. There is, as you get older as well, I guess, it's, money is a means to an end. It is great to, eat in nice places or have a nice car or and it's nice to have a roof over your shoulder, but really at some point, as we as I mentioned, around these multi-billionaires who are still in the trading game and who could have left years ago and still do it, it's beyond money, and it's more around building a legacy for yourself, whether that legacy goes on towards charitable works, which is something I'm very, very keen on, or whether you want to just change the world, whether you want to bring democracy to countries that don't have it, or whether you want to question democracy and become an authoritarian type regimes. And then obviously that's a very interesting thing that's going on right now, right? You've got the US versus China, and they're both trying to show the rest of the world that one's better than the other, one system is better than the other, and whatever your life goals is, and everyone's got different ones, and is to sort of work towards that, and unfortunately to influence a lot of things you need money, and so maybe that's to make a mark on charity you can yes, you can give your time, but it obviously goes way more with your dollar, right, than your actual time. So the multiple effect of that is just completely different. So it's to sort of view money from doing good rather than from a new watch or whatever new car perspective is one of the biggest lessons, right? As a 22-year-old, I remember my first big bonus buying, like literally a top of the range BMW, and I didn't drive to work, and I lived 10 minutes from work. I mean, it was absolutely pointless, but it was the thing I had to do, and I was so proud of it, and looking back now, it's just like, oof, cringeworthy. So
yeah. Oh man. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for your time today, Sudhu. This has been really great. I'm so glad I got the opportunity to chat with you and learn your story and hear, how CoinFlex came to be. This has been a really great time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Christopher. Really wonderful to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you guys for tuning into today's How to Trade Stocks Options podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and enable notifications. That way you never miss any of the tools, tips, and tricks that we upload every single week to help you trade faster and trade smarter. And I'll see you on the next episode. Okay, so what'd you think? That was pretty incredible, right? I have 3 special free gifts for you over at 10minutestocktrader.com. That's the Triple Stock Profits ebook you can get for free. That's a Bullish Power cheat sheet that you can get for free. And if that wasn't enough, at the brand new web class, How to Easily Discover Proven, Backtested, 100% plus winners, that is for free as well. You can get these 3 free gifts, all yours, at 10minutestocktrader.com. The Triple Stock Profits ebook, the free web class, and the Bullish Power cheat sheet. And all you got to do is go to 10minutestocktrader.com. Hey, if you like this video, let me know by leaving me a like below, and then subscribe and share it with somebody you think could use it as well. Be sure to comment below with your biggest takeaway from this episode and any suggestions you have for future episodes. And finally, make sure you watch these other videos to help you trade faster and trade smarter, and I'll see you on the next episode.